Okay, welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. This session speaker is a little special because by attending this conference today as students, we are actually following in his footsteps in a way. So our guest speaker for today is Garth Mahlangu, and he actually attended one of the first ever SAPICS conferences, student conferences. He became a member of SAPICS while still at university, and his membership was actually what stood out to his future employer. So just to give you a little background on Garth, Garth lives by the motto, give it my all or don't do it at all, as evidenced by his as by his academics and achievements. He holds very strong family values and describes himself as a confident yet humble, innovative, goal-orientated, hardworking, and vibrant young individual who aims to grow and improve continuously. As an intellect, his goals are to stamp a positive footprint in people's lives and to add to the supply chain industry by solving real-life challenges and being innovative. He also enjoys networking with different people as he is always eager to broaden his horizons. Without any further ado, over to you, Garth, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for this opportunity. It's quite cool. When Jenny approached me, it was one of those things where I thought to myself, oh, what? Me? Really? But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, let's begin. So, what am I going to be talking about today? Essentially, I'm going to be talking about the importance of being a member of a professional organization, of course, like SAPEX. And as well, I'll be touching a bit on my journey. So, how I started and so forth. Yeah. So, who is Goth? So, Goth Mahlangu essentially is a guy from the east region of Gauteng. I was born in the Ekurhuleni region in Tembisa. So yeah, I am very, very, very versed in the Jozi vibes. So yeah, born in Tembisa. I'm 29 years old. I did my schooling in Segal Primary School and Izitikeni Secondary School. That's for my high school as well. I went to the Vaal University of Technology from 2011 until 2014. And 2014, so I was actually introduced to SAPEX, I think 2013. They came to our varsity, of course. And yeah, I think I joined 20, if not 2013 late, I joined 2014 early. And then from then on, 2016, I did some corporate education, which I will tell you all about. And as well, through that, did a short course in Rhodes University for supply chain management and operational excellence. So this, of course, uh, didn't end there. You also do courses such as like personal mastery and those type of things. So if you can see my picture there, I didn't have a better picture, so I chose that picture. And don't mind the cutout. That person is my sister. So let's go on to the next slide. So in the next slide, essentially, I'll be pointing out a few benefits for me, or the important points that worked for me, and as far as joining an organization like SAPEX or being a member. So it's not more. I didn't want to make it a Google thing, you know. Gibbs University say these are the big benefits of joining an organization or however. So on this specific one, I essentially just wanted to touch on my experiences, how it worked for me, yeah. And again, for me, before I start anything, is there's no golden rule. There's no because I walked this journey, so the same person can do my journey, and things will work out. Of course, I think it's quite clear. We all have our own roads to drive. So it's essentially, I'll start. Yeah, the standout from the rest for me was the first point. This is one of the biggest benefits that I got from joining an organization like SAPICS, because back then, 2014, what, 5, 6 years ago, it wasn't really. It's, how do I say this? Supply chain wasn't really, or logistics and supply chain wasn't really, how do I say it, like the in thing, the buzz. So being part of an organization like this just stood out for me, because if you, amongst 5, 6, 7, 10 candidates, and on your resume you have something like this, then it gives the next person that impression that this person is exposed to some extent. Yeah. So for me, it was a good thing, because out of all the candidates, when I actually started at BMW, I was the only one who had SAPICS membership. So that worked out brilliantly for me. So really is, you do stand out, and it's it just shows an extra step that you've taken just to distinguish yourself from the rest. So for me, stand out from the rest was a big one. Professional development, the second one, is really, really, really important, because I think for all of us, yeah, when you're a student, you don't really know what really happens, and we all have this whoopsie daisy fugazi picture in our heads on how things are supposed to be, professional development, blah blah blah. But it's we are, I don't want to say we are miles away as students, but yeah, the picture is very different once you get exposed to joining such an organization. Because I can remember in 2014, I think it was 10 of us, 10 students that just joined the annual conference in Sun City, and of course we were as working students there. And when it comes to professional development, is when you speak to people, how they engage with you, how you engage with them. I know some might think it's granular, it's miniature, but it really, 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 really helps. Is how people carry themselves, and what is what you must know, and these type of things. So as a professional at that time, really. It really, really, really helped meeting professionals. Yeah, as a professional student, I mean, it really, really helped meeting and engaging with these real life professionals that deal with big tasks and these type of topics. So really, as far as professional development, it works. And of course, I think you have various accreditations when it comes to SAPICS. So yeah, really, really for me, professional development is one of the big pluses. Great exposure in the supply chain industry, up to date with the latest. That helps as well, because if you're speaking to industry professionals, you can stay relevant. And with SAPICS, that's the great thing. I think the sharing of knowledge is massive. It's for me, it worked out really, really fundamentally. It's the sharing of knowledge, that exposure, understanding. Back in the day, I mean, I matriculated in 2009, and logistics was referred to, oh, it's that profession that deals with trucks. So when you get to go to such conferences and get such exposure, you really understand the bigger picture, of, oh, so logistics and supply chain is not necessarily just trucks moving from one end to the other. It's much more bigger than that, So um, the exposure that you get in different industries, and I think that is the cool thing. There's automotive and strictly freight, and there's whatever, the FMCG, the fast moving consumer goods market. So I think the exposure in all of those really, really, really helps. And the fourth one is good learning. As good learning, I don't mean just the accreditations they have, or I also mean I used to get I subscribe to the newsletters, so you get these magazines on the latest trends and logistics, supply chain, and what's happening in the markets. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read all of them. I read some, especially when I was bored, but really it's good info to have. And just again, if I have to link the dots, it also touches on the professional development side, the great exposure in the supply chain. So for me, that subscription worked a lot. I mean, it worked so much that my mom also wanted to throw these magazines and these books away because there was just too many of them. So really, it's from an educational perspective, and it just informally, education is not always, oh, you have to be in a classroom, oh, blah blah blah, this and that. Just informally bored on a weekend. There's no football like this weekend. It's international weekend, and you read these type of things, and it helps. Absolutely, it helps a great deal. And the fifth one I want to touch on is networking. So I think with networking, it's for me this is the most important. Yeah, is um, the fact that we again I give the example 2014 we came you meet these people from different industries to Accenture, Imperial, BMW, Merck, all of these guys, and they get to know you, you get to know them. I mean, for example, one case study about myself is there's a lady that goes by the name of Karen. She's some hot shot as well in DHL, and I met her through this. So really, it's really, 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 really cool. And I think what I enjoyed more about this networking thing is what was so cool is we had I think it was on a monthly basis. I'm not sure, but we would go to SAB, see how they do business there. I remember we went to Denel, see how their supply chain works there. We went to Imperial, and you can imagine as a student normally until you have the experience, you do not really as much as you say you understand, but until you have the experience, you don't really, and not that you don't really understand, but the experience just makes things like, oh, okay, oh, it makes perfect sense. This is logic. So just the exposure going there, networking with these different people, and again, I say hot shots. It really, really, really helps because it also forces you to be out of your comfort zone. I mean, I can remember I'm just a student studying in the Val, and here I am talking with like Karen, I think Peters or Detroit, I'm not sure, who is a back short in DHL, and this Brendan Williams, if I'm not mistaken, at Denel, and I'm just there, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm not used to this. Type of small talk, because of course with networking you have to break ice, and normally you break ice with small talk. Ah, sorry about that. Where I am, I have motion sensor lights, so I just gonna move quickly so that we get lights back on. Uh, Whoop, back again. Sorry about that. And yeah, so the networking part is really, really important for me, and I think it's because BMW is such a global company, as you all know. I remember one of my mentors telling me that things sometimes happen quicker because someone can put a face to the name, So we work a lot with German counterparts, American, whatever. So with networking, and once you put a face to it, things really, it's for me, it's like relationship building. So that was one of the biggest things for me. Most of us, and especially this generation, well, I have a sister who's what 24, and her famous line is, people are so boring, people are so boring. I don't want to be around people, but again, is networking is for me is the make or break. Yeah, is is you need to have that. I mean, one of my biggest attributes right now where I am at BMW is that I have a wide range of network, is to the cleaner, yeah, to the director of the plant. So, not that we are friends with the director of the plant, of course not, but the fact that he knows you and you can have a conversation, that's really important because these things they take you out of your comfort zones. Is where normally us as guys, or young people, we're so used to um, making small talk informally, at events, and these type of things, and professional networking. So sometimes it's it becomes a bit cumbersome because you just want to say the right things and these type of things. And for me, networking really is massive, is something that you really need to have. I mean, I can say right now, my greatest strength is not that I know everything here, but I know someone that knows something somewhere, and which is super important. It's so vital because you're not Superman or Superwoman. You need these things, you need to network, you need to put yourself out there, and even here where I work in my work environment, it becomes even more difficult because it's an international company. You have Germans, you have Americans, and that culture difference and these type of things, they impact. But yeah, it's one of the big things, and I'm glad to say I think I do it well. If I'm not, I think, if I have to be modest. But yeah, it's super important. So please network. Is what's this famous saying? I know sometimes we get lost in these hoo-ha sayings. Your network is your net worth, but really your network is really your net worth. I mean, just to give an example, the guy that is heading the I don't know if you know the NAMSA fund. So this is the National South African automotive fund where all the seven OEMs, your BMWs, your Mercedes Benz, your Ford, your Toyotas, all these automotive companies in South Africa have created a fund, of course, for skills development and more specifically for supplier development. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for us to import screws in Germany when you could just do it here in Soshanguve or this type of thing. So the president of that or the CEO who's heading that fund, and it's a massive fund. I think it's about 10 billion rands. Is a very good friend of mine. Yeah, he was my mentor because he also used to work for BMW. So knowing someone like that, is very important. And yeah, for me, really, networking will get you places because sometimes it's not about what qualification you have or I don't know if you're wearing a Paul Smith suit. Sometimes it's just a matter of, oh, I know the face. Hi, Garth. Hey, how are you? Yeah, 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 yeah. Informal discussion, and tomorrow you find out that Garth is something else somewhere just through networking. So it's super, super, super important. And this is we try and practice it here, specifically in my department. We go for a beer once in a while. Yes, that you can say it's relationship building, but also, is you meet other people there, and yeah, that helps. And last but not least is job opportunities. So for me, again, going to Imperial, going to Denel, going to SAB to see how their operational excellence is there as far as supply chain also helps. And meeting these people from DHL, from Denel, you get these job opportunities firsthand, and again goes back to networking. If I send a CV and you can put a face to it, it's like, oh, Garth, hey, okay, call him for an interview, even if he doesn't meet the minimum requirements. So really, again, being part of a big organization like this is really, really, really massive. And these are the few points that have stood out for me. And yeah, and just to touch quickly on my journey, if we move on to the next slide. So my journey at BMW, I started in 2015, as an intern. So immediately after my final year in varsity, 2014, I didn't stay too long at home, and February 2015, I started at BMW as an intern in a department called Change and Launch Control. It's not as cool as you think. My first project there was to refurbish a kitchen. So yeah, as an intern, I started there, and then the next 6 months of that year, I went to actually logistics planning. So where you plan like a base model, when we're going to be introducing a new model like we just did with the X3, all the planning, especially the logistics planning that goes into it. And there I had some massive learning, because one interesting fact about BMW or Plant Rosslyn, where we build the X3, is it is the most complex supply chain across the group. So meaning in any other plant, their supply chain is much more simpler than ours is. I mean, we get parts from the EU, the European Union, we get parts from what you call this, the NAFTA region, your America, your Mexico, the BCC, best cost countries, your Asia part of the world. Local, we get parts. So it's a massive challenge managing all of this. So yeah, logistics planning as an intern for 7 months, and then from then on, I got into the graduate program for BMW under logistics still. But I think after a year, you can choose, see what else you'd like to see before you make your final decision, which career path you want to take. And I went to Sub-Sahara business development. Really challenging, as I mean, the sales there, for example, in a month we'd sell like 700 cars, and so really challenging and lots of learning. So I rotated there for good 6 months, really massive learning. And then from then on, I came back to my parents' department, logistics. 2018, I made specialist in inbound process planning. So what I would do basically, your warehouse configuration, when you set up a new warehouse, line supply operations, how does a part get from the container to actually where it gets fitted, these type of things. But it's essentially I work with projects, efficiency projects, specifically maintenance projects, and of course, real life problem solving, shop floor problem solving, because there's people that are building this car, and one of my biggest responsibilities was problem solving, driving problem solving on the shop floor level, quality defects and these type of things. And then just last year, I recently got promoted. I became a warehouse manager for the engine plant and building 85. So it's essentially I'm the warehouse manager for where we assemble the engines. So if any of you here drive an X3, or you know a relative or a friend, know that me and you are connected in one way or the other. Good quality, I can guarantee that. It comes straight from these hands. So yeah, I became a warehouse manager, and last year November, and I have to say yeah, it's been one hell of a ride. Yeah, is no matter what school you do or where you go, no one can prepare you for managing people. So I manage the engine plant and building 85, which is my second warehouse. So in the engine plant, essentially, I get parts, I house parts, store parts, and of course, supply parts that build or assemble the engine. In building 85 in the other warehouse, it's seen more as an external warehouse. So I'm like um, if you have capacity issues in your warehouse, I'm the one that stores your parts and gives you what you need. In these German abbreviations here, we call it a VZ3. So yeah, I'm responsible for that. And yeah, it's been a ride. And the biggest thing in my journey, And BMW has been fantastic. Yeah, is for example, just to relate, I had my first heartbreak here, so I am really entrenched. I'm more like furniture here at BMW. Yeah, it's massive, massive, massive improvement in the quality of my life. You know, it's not just professionally, but I remember for a good 5 years, I used to stay in when I first got here to BMW, I used to stay in a commune. First 3 years while I was an intern, yes, first 3, 4 years, intern and graduateship. I was in a commune where it was a commune of internationals. You know, I was the only South African. It was Turkish, Danish, Germans, and these type of people. So really, really, that for me has been. I mean, just being a boy from Tembisa, you know, you think the world ends at Sandton, at Pretoria, Menlyn, or and Cape Town, but through BMW now is I can call myself a real global citizen. So yeah, yeah. So that's been super fantastic. And yeah, that's my journey at BMW. Exciting, amazing, has its own politics. But yeah, they're super, super, super cool. And one thing though, I just want to leave you with before I end it off, if we can go to the next slide. Of course, I just for this, for everyone, I'm a big football fanatic. Yeah, you see here Cristiano Ronaldo. He inspires me together with Lewis Hamilton. I'm a big petrol head as well. These guys inspire me, yeah, because to consistently deliver at the highest of levels and achieve everything that there is to achieve and still have the desire, the hunger to train and prepare as if they're amateurs, you know. So this is what inspires me about these guys. So, but yeah, I'm a big football fan and big petrol head. So I follow the Formula One quite a lot, and of course I drive a very nice, fast car. So yeah, and then just lastly, in the next slide, my parting words really are. Your attitude towards failure really determines your altitude after failure. Sorry about the picture quality, but yeah, as for me, this has been the biggest thing. Yeah, is I would like to call it bounce back ability. Is you need that. Things are gonna go wrong. Don't kid yourself. Things are gonna go wrong. You're gonna hit a lot of bumps. I mean, before I got to BMW, I think I went to about 4 or 5 interviews and they didn't go well. I went to Procter and Gamble. I thought it was in the bag. It didn't go well. I went to Imperial. It didn't go well. I went to Clover. It didn't go well. I went to Current. It didn't go well. Um, but there was so many learnings that I took from there, and I think this is why I'm here. I mean, I don't think it's I think it's unheard of that 3 years graduateship and then a year and a half as a specialist, and suddenly you're a warehouse manager, especially for BMW. So really, for me, the biggest thing has been my resilience. Yeah, is things have gone wrong, and not necessarily gone wrong is it's the way of life. Things need to happen as such. They don't really say too much about you that you are not good enough or anything like that. But it's just another stepping stone. You learn and you move. You learn and you move. You know, there's this big saying that the Z or generation like to say, we keep it moving. And for me, that's the biggest thing. You know, your resilience helps you to keep it moving. And even here at BMW, before I made specialist, I think I went to 3, 4 interviews that didn't go well as well. So for me, yeah, the biggest thing is bounce back ability. Your resilience is the most important thing. Yeah, your attitude really is. I know people preach this, but if your attitude is stinky, then the future is not going to smell nice. So really, your resilience and your bounce back ability are the biggest things. And for me, I can say these are exactly the things that got me here. So if anything that you're gonna take from here is really understand that life is like I like to use a football analogy. Um, the recent Champions League final between Chelsea and Man United, Chelsea and Man City. It's Man City lost, but it's not because they didn't work hard enough or they were not good enough or whatever. It's just that it wasn't their turn, and they're gonna try again next year, and hopefully they do well. So again, bounce back ability, resilience, and the future of work. Read on I think it's on the IMF or World Health Organization, but the World of Work. Please go through that, the new World of Work. And thank you for the opportunity. I really hope it wasn't too much blah 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 blah. And I know I went over time for Q&A, so but yeah, I just had to share. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you so much, Garth, for that presentation. Really charismatic, really. Uh, uh, so, as you said, we've run out of time. There's one question here. Will you be available in the lounge after the session for if our audience has any
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
any further
For
questions?
think it's only fair for overrunning the time. It's only fair that I join. Yeah, yeah. So for sure, I'll be available.
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is now over. I'll see you in the next one. And just a quick reminder, before the end of this conference, we're actually going to have a comedian who's going to do a little skit for us. So be sure not to miss that. And from me, thank you, Garth. Thank you to our audience. And I'll see you at the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.